right, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and go over the warm-up. The first one we're looking at deals with transformations. So two things happening here. We've got a reflection and shifted down 2, and it wants me to graph 2 points on the new line. So you have kind of 2 options. You can write the equation first because we have the original equation here and then graph it, or you can just straight up graph it. I think I'll write the equation first. So f of x is equal to x. That's the equation that I was given. And now I want to make g of x so that f of x has been reflected and shifted down 2. So in order to reflect it, I need to put a negative in front, and then shift it down 2. I'm going to put a -2 at the end. And then graph that. So start at your y-intercept, -2, and go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, and get as many points as you feel like you need to draw a straight line, even though it only asks for 2. So there's the equation, and there's the line right there. Number 2 is asking us to write the linear equation that best fits the data, I should say, when x is equal to 0, corresponds to the year 1950. So a couple key factors here. Linear tells me it's going to be linear, it's a line. So I'm using y1 squiggly a x1 plus b when I go into Desmos. And then the other piece here that's really important is we're dealing with year. So usually I'm not actually going to use the year 1958. I'm going to scale it down to starting at 1950. So I'm going to make another column, years since 1950. And so this would be 8 instead of 1958, subtract off 1950. This would be 13, 17, 32, and 37. So go ahead and open up Desmos. In a tab on your Chromebook. So going to desmos.com. I'm going to split my screens here. All right, so let's add a table. And I'm going to put in those new values, years since 1950. So 13, 17, 32, and 37. And then the y values. All right. Go ahead and hit the little magnifying glass to find your data, and I can see it definitely is going in a line formation. So I'm going to type in the linear equation y1 squiggly a x1 plus b, and that leaves me with an a value of -3.89 and a b value of 167.34. So I can see here that that's going to be D. If you had C before I went over this, what your mistake was there is you forgot to change the year. To change the years to since 1950. Since 1950. So watch out for that. Anytime you're dealing with regression in years, you're probably going to scale it down so that it's they're smaller numbers. If you look at the y-intercept, it's 167 is much smaller to deal with than 7,762. All right, number 3, I'm going to use Desmos once again, so I'll keep this open. It's asking me for which system of inequalities is -3, 1 a solution. So I'm going to go ahead and put that point in, -3, 1. If you check the label button, it will nicely label it. Also, I'm zoomed kind of weird right now, so I'm going to hit the home button to zoom in to like a 10 by 10 coordinate plane. All right, I'll just go one by one and type in these inequalities and see which one works. 2x minus 3y. All right, so -3, 1, is that in fact a solution? Is that a solution? No, it is not, because it's the intersection of 2 dashed lines. So I can cross off A. It's not going to be that one. In fact, I noticed that in order for -3, 1 to be a solution, and all of these inequalities are the same except for the symbol, what I really need is for them both to be or equal to. So you can see right here, I need both of those inequalities to be inclusive or equal to. So let's just try to make those changes. I'll skip down to D, and you can see that now there are two solid lines. That's the intersection of two solid lines. So we can include negative 3, 1 as a solution. So there you go. I'm going to skip down to number 5 for a second, because that uses Desmos as well, and then we'll go back and do number 4. So number 5 says the function is graphed. Actually, I don't even need Desmos for that. They already gave me the graph. What are the apparent zeros from the graph? So let's see here. Well, what are zeros? They're x-intercepts, right? Another word for zeros is x-intercept. So I'm just literally going to look at my graph and see where it's across the x-axis. So right here at -5 and right here at 1. So those would be my two zeros, -5 and 1. All right, let's pop back up to number 4. Write the equation in standard form. What is standard form again? That's ax plus by equals c. So I can't go directly to standard form. I actually need to go to slope-intercept form first, y equals mx plus b, and then I can take it into standard form. So the first thing you want to do is distribute. You get -1/3 x plus 2, and then get y by itself, so add 6 on both sides. So you get y equals -1/3 x plus 8. Now, notice that is an option here. C, that is an option, but that is not standard form, so I can actually cross that off. Now I'm going to take it into standard form, which means I need to move the x to the other side, so add 1/3 x on both sides. So I'll get 1/3 x plus y equals 8, and if you recall, I just can't have fractions in standard form, so how do you get rid of the fraction? You multiply by the denominator, so distribute that 3 in, and you'll get x plus 3y equals 24. So that will give you D. Thanks for watching. On the next video, I will go through the notes.